BRICS challenged the dollar, right? But what's coming next could actually be even bigger. Seems there's a new player maybe forming behind closed doors, something even BRICS might not control. So let's break down what comes after the BRICS revolution in this deep dive. Our mission today really is to give you a shortcut to understanding this massive geopolitical and economic shift happening right now. Okay, so let's start with the big one. Is BRICS already peaking? Has this alliance kind of done all it can do, or is there more?
Not quite peaked, I'd say, though it's certainly close to maybe what many thought its initial peak would be. BRICS has already managed some very concrete things, very impactful. For example, they've successfully disrupted traditional oil trading mechanisms.
And that's huge, absolutely. They also launched that significant $100 billion reserve fund. That immediately challenged the established authority of places like the IMF and the World Bank, didn't it? How much of a dent, though, has that truly made against the sheer financial power of those, traditional institutions?
That's a really crucial question. Now, while the fund itself isn't like a direct replacement for the IMF, its existence alone, that signals a significant shift, a shift in influence. It offers a credible alternative. But here's the real twist, I think. BRICS isn't really meant to be one single currency or one uniform economic model. Think of it more as a crucial step. A step in a much larger process.
A step.
Yeah, like the first tremor before a major tectonic shift. It signals this decentralization of global economic power, the next phase. That involves other alliances, faster tech advancements, and whole new regions jumping into the game. So this story, it isn't over. Not by a long shot. It's just expanding.
Right. So what does this really mean for us listening?
Yeah.
When the dollar falls, something has to fill that vacuum. The real question is, who? And that leads us perfectly to what's next. Who is building this next super alliance, this force beyond BRICS? Who's doing it right now?
Well, we're seeing quite a bit of quiet but very deliberate planning. ASEAN, for instance. They're moving towards a regional financial bloc. It's not flashy, but it's happening. Then you've got countries like Turkey, Iran, Egypt. They've openly said they want new independent payment routes separate from the current global system.
Okay, so is this still mostly talk, theory, or are we seeing actual things taking shape on the ground?
Oh, that's the fascinating part. It's already in motion, definitely. Yeah. Look at Africa's AfCFTA, the African Continental Free Trade Area. They are actively testing a digital currency platform right now. This isn't just, long-term vision stuff. It's happening. And what's really interesting here, government agencies are actually starting to call this whole phenomenon BRICS+++.
BRICS++++.
Yeah, they see it as kind of a chain, compatible, yes, but independent power blocks. It's federated financial power. What that means is individual economic zones, each with their own systems, maybe currencies, they're creating secure, direct links to each other, bypassing the central players. And it's already happening.
Wow. So it's not BRICS 2.0 then. It's more like, think of it like NATO, but for finance. Decentralized, but potentially deadly effective.
That's a good way to put it.
And with that kind of ambition, well, it begs the question, what's their ultimate goal here? What are these alliances actually trying to build?
Their main goal, their overarching goal, it's pretty crystal clear. They want to construct an entire financial infrastructure, one that the U.S. fundamentally cannot shut down. And that raises huge questions, right, about global financial sovereignty. Who actually controls the money flow?
Right. And that means specific pieces completely outside the old system. We're talking cross-border payments completely outside of SWIFT. And trade ledgers backed by real things, by commodities.
Precisely. Imagine, say, a digital trade system where every single transaction is directly tied to barrels of oil or tons of rare earth minerals. That gives a stability that, paper currencies maybe can't match. They're looking hard at using physical assets, gold, oil, those rare earths, using them as foundational reserves. And they're developing digital currencies, but, and this is key, specifically designed for settlements. Explicitly not for surveillance.
Not for surveillance.
Yeah.
That's a huge point, but also a massive technical challenge.
Right.
And political. How do they guarantee no surveillance when governments, traditionally want that control?
That's the multi-trillion-dollar question, isn't it? It's a major hurdle they need to address credibly.
Okay. So they don't just want a parallel dollar. They want a whole new ecosystem, a system with no veto players, no IMF, no World Bank, no U.S. Treasury calling the shots. It almost sounds like they're building a completely separate financial universe.
That's the core of it. This is critical. They're not just replacing the currency. They're replacing the system.
Okay. Wow. So with such a fundamental shift happening, where does the West stand? Can they actually stop this movement? Or are they just, reacting, playing catch up?
They are certainly trying, yes, but their efforts, they look primarily defensive right now. The U.S. is pushing hard, fast-tracking its digital dollar initiatives. That includes FedNow, CBDC efforts, central bank digital currency.
Right. And the EU is, using loan packages, trying to pressure nations in Africa, South America. We're also seeing NATO setting up supply chain defense zones.
Yeah.
Sounds like they're pulling out all the stops.
They are using the tools they have, definitely. But here's the real limiting factor for those strategies. If 30, maybe 40 countries collectively decide, okay, we're ditching the dollar, traditional sanctions, they become largely meaningless. That really does change the game entirely.
So BRICS plus kind of cracked the door open, and what's coming through behind it might just knock the West off the map, financially speaking.
It's a potential scenario, yes. A fundamental rebalancing.
Okay, so as this post-BRICS world takes shape, who should we be watching? Which countries are likely to lead this new global financial landscape? Who are the key players?
Well, it can definitely identify some key players, each with unique strengths. Saudi Arabia is absolutely crucial. Their access to oil, obviously, but also significant gold reserves, huge leverage there. China, of course, a leader in infrastructure and really pushing the envelope with AI-led finance.
Right. And India, often called a swing state, but that seems maybe understating it. They have serious capabilities in exporting digital currency solutions, don't they? You can't ignore that.
Absolutely. India's role is critical and frankly still evolving. Very important player. Then you have the UAE and Turkey. Think of them as vital logistics finance bridges connecting different regions.
Makes sense, like hubs.
Exactly. And don't miss this part. Latin America and Africa, they are quietly making local deals. Bilateral agreements with existing BRICS members. That's how this new financial web grows, organically, under the radar sometimes.
It started with 5 countries.
Right. And now it's morphing into potentially 40 or more. You can't really stop a web like that easily, especially not one built on, real resources, because it offers tangible benefits or real alternatives that the old systems maybe can't suppress anymore.
That's a powerful image, like watching a new global nervous system just emerging right in front of us. So what comes after BRICS? It looks like a new world financial order, one no longer solely controlled from Washington or Brussels. Let me know what you think. Is the future multipolar? Or just multi-confusing? Drop a comment. Let's get into it. And hey, don't forget to subscribe so you stay ahead of the next big shift.